We've all heard the saying, another definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. However, this is not always the case. Sometimes, instead of changing what you're doing, reinforce those good actions. In my own life experience, I've always wanted to understand how the financial markets work and how to distill my philosophy accumulated by life experience in such a way that my audience would not repeat the same mistake. In the first, second, third, sixth month of absolute sacrifice, absolute dedication of my time, having to avoid a certain group of people, I wasn't seeing the corresponding results and it was devastating. In that moment, I decided to stop focusing on the external, on the end result, what I can't control, rather on my input. Few months later, I started receiving compliments on the way I speak, on my insights in the financial markets, and ultimately attracting investors because this portrayed a certain level of competence in that aspect. Say you who's watching, you read a chapter a day, and for a month, you begin to see these little improvements in your speaking, clarity of thought, you're receiving compliments here and there. One might say, to get a different outcome, I need to change what I'm doing. So instead of reading a chapter a day, I replace it with podcasts or any other learning outlet. Yes, you might get an entirely different result, but instead, why don't you read 2 chapters or 3 chapters? You would see an improved result of what you were currently doing. Of course, you now have to infer, do I want an improved result on what I'm currently doing, of which is different from what you currently have, or do I want an entirely different result? That is what you have to identify. We can't talk about compound interest without exploring the financial world. If you're 20 years old and you put $100 into the market every month, say you get an average return of 10% annually, you would retire a millionaire. How does this work? Through compound interest. Assuming all dividends reinvested, it is statistically proven that if you invest $100 every month into something called the S&P 500, you would retire a millionaire. This is not some financial guru. Of course, I'm not advising you to do it. I'm not endorsing any activity. This is just an example. So, my friends, from this short video, you should be able to infer, do I want an entirely different result, or do I want an improved version of what I'm currently doing? As always, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.